how to pile or make rug or make fringe or leave any looped through long material into the warp. When you do pile, it's a system of tabbying with interruptions of fringe put in. And you can make this regular across the plane. You can isolate it in an area of the warp, or you can put single ones randomly within a weaving. I'm using, again, this t-shirt yarn for demo's sake because it really is easy to see. And so what I'll do is I'll just lift this line of pile here, and you'll see, I'm just gonna come through and flip this up, and you'll see that each row of pile is separated by one pick of tabby. When I do pile, I always use a shed stick. It makes it very easy to make a quick pass in at least one direction, and you'll see that pile takes a little bit of time. We already have several rows here, so we'll just be adding one row in the demo. The thing to have prepared is lengths of yarn and to just have a bundle of them to the side as you work. Because I already laid in the tabby, we can think about this as an additional row in this field of pile or the first row in this field of pile. We can pretend that none of this is yet here. So to start, you simply make a pick of tabby across the field. Then you decide where you're inlaying your pile. And to do pile, you do it with 2 warp ends that share where they land in the structure. So 2 that are over or 2 that are under, but not 1 over and 1 under. No. So what I did here is I used these 2. So what I'm gonna do for my next row is I'm gonna offset it by 1 string, and you can see that these have been offset by 1 string. This one is 1 to the left, this one goes back 1 to the right, this one goes back 1 to the left. So they're staggered, they zigzag back and forth. You don't have to do this, but it does fill the field in a more regular way. And so the next 2 lines that I want to use are these. I'm gonna put my hand here so that it's easy to see what's happening. You wanna lay your doubled over end over these 2 lines in an arc, and then you just push the ends of those through the 2, and then you drag your first pick of pile down. Make sure that you pull on both of the ends to make it tight, but not so tight where it crosses over so that it compresses the warp ends. You want to make sure the warp is nice and regular so you don't get to a point where you're making it, your pile, way too dense in a particular area. It'll become like a hard pad weaving rather than a soft cloth weaving. So you can see I'm just taking the next 2, then I skip, then I take 1, skip, 2. And so I'm always laying over, opening the 2 ends, pulling the 2 ends through, and then dragging down. Now I decided to do 5 in each row. So again, I'll use my needle to point this out. I am skipping this, and I'm gonna take 1, skip, and 2. Okay. And again, I am laying my yarn over and then just flipping the ends back through like this. Okay, compress, down while pulling the ends. One more. And then you'll see why it's a really wonderful idea to have this shed stick in place and prepared. I have my pile laid down. I'm going to go through and just with my fingers drag those little knotted areas down all the way. And then what I'm going to do is to secure these, and in between the next row, you flip up your shed, you pass your needle through, and this is a shed that's set up for tabby like we said earlier. You want to make sure, take the time to organize your line, make sure it's laying flat, and so it's going to compress nice evenly and make a strong pile surface. Go ahead and use your fork to beat that down. You want to get it beat down as much as you can. And you saw that when I picked that tabby, I was still picking into an arc, not straight across. And that will never change on this sort of frame weaving. And so you see, these are really secure. You're not going to be able to pull one out at all. Makes a nice surface, and that is how you do pile.